It's recording.
I know, Melissa. Thank you. Hey guys, Rick and Melissa here for our, what are we calling this? Our Marriage Life University chats.
Married.
Life. See, I don't even know where I am or what I'm doing.
Married Life
University
chat.
Married Life U chats. Kind of like fireside chats. I'm very presidential. Melissa is as well.
Again with the fireside.
So yes.
There's no fireside.
There will be a fire. There will be a fire sometime in doing these. So we just want to check in and our talk quickly this week about another little mini topic. And we want to talk about our what we call our weekly check-in time.
Now, for some of you who maybe have been to our conferences or heard us teach before or heard us teach online, we used to refer to this as marriage time, but we feel like just a more appropriate name is weekly check-in. Now you're like, well, what does that mean? Weekly check-in is kind of an intentional time that you guys communicate with each other, and sometimes more specifically about any issues going on. So, I don't know, issues with your kids, issues in your marriage, issues with each other, issues with your work, issues in life, but it's a dedicated time where you just like, okay, right now, for the next couple hours, I'm going to get vulnerable with my spouse, and I'm going to talk to him about things that may have been bothering me this week. The one thing about marriage or any relationship is that you can kind of get in a routine and take for granted what you have, and you stop sharing and you stop being open and you stop saying, hey, these are the things I really need to talk about. Here's what's going on in my heart and here's what I'm feeling. And then you start losing that emotional connection.
Yeah, anytime you live together, we've all had roommates. We've all, you've been married for some amount of time. There's going to be stuff that drives each other crazy just in living life.
Yeah.
And I think it's important that a lot of times those are the fights that make us, that happen that shouldn't happen. And so
that's what causes the fights?
Yeah, I think when we don't talk about those little small issues, or because we don't feel like we have a time and a place to ever address this. So if we don't talk about you dropping your, leaving your socks on the floor, if I don't talk about it right now, then I'm gonna, I don't have a time to talk about it, and then it turns into a big fight, and you go, what in the heck were we fighting about?
Right,
so you've ever had one of those, right? Yeah, never. Nobody's ever had those fights where you're like, why am I yelling? I don't know why I'm yelling. And then you're like, no idea. So that's the good thing about marriage time or our weekly check-in time is it's twofold to me. A lot of times, usually in marriages, we're different people, and there's different things that drive each of us a little crazy, or we have our own peculiarities, or we have our own things that we like. And a lot of times those things seem bigger than they are. So if we have a time set aside during the week where we can talk about those things, it actually enables us to learn how to have self-control. Yeah. And I go, I don't have to talk about this right this second. I need to just take a breath, not nag my husband or my wife, not come across as controlling or critical, and shut my damn mouth and wait until we have our weekly connection, our weekly check-in time. And a lot of times those things actually, you'd be surprised, those things you forget about them. They just kind of disappear because they're not as important as you thought they were in the moment. Now, but sometimes they are.
No, I 100% agree with what he's saying. We actually talk about the importance of this with a lot of couples. What Rick is saying is true, because I know I've had things that in the moment, believe it or not, Rick, I'm very irritated about something.
No.
And I think, you know what? Is this that big of an issue that I've got to bring it up right now in the middle of our day, ruin our afternoon, ruin what we have planned, or even ruin our date night if we're on a date night? Or is this something that I can just set aside for when we have our weekly check-in, which is Wednesday mornings at 9 a.m., and talk about it then? Because chances are by the time Wednesday morning rolls around, like Rick said, I'm either over it, or at least my emotions are enough in check by that time that it doesn't turn into a huge full-blown fight. I've been able to process it, think about it, and have a healthy conversation with Rick.
So this is a great time, again, to talk about those things just to keep you guys on the same page, but also talk about stuff with your kids, talk about plans of vacation coming up, talk about anything that's going to bring stress to your life, get your calendar, your schedule kind of worked out. I mean, it's just a time, to spend where you're just making sure you guys are good, anything going on that we can talk about, and then anything that's really important to our marriage and us moving forward. And then sometimes you make plans. Hey, there's something going on in my life. There's transition in my life. And
but that's not the main focus of it. But yes.
So you say, I want to talk about some deeper things, and we need some time for that. So just really use that weekly check-in time just to make sure you guys are on the same page and hear each other out.
And last thing I want to say is this does not replace daily communication.
Exactly.
We're not saying like, you guys only need to talk once a week.
Yes, some of you were happy.
You guys should always be checking in with each other every day, just talking life. But this is just an opportunity to really discuss issues or deeper things that tend to get, shoved under the rug. So I think that's all we have to say about weekly check-in. If you have any questions about this topic, you can reach us at our website, marriedlifeu.com.